In today's note, we are going to do a quick review of some operations with polynomials. So this is just going to look at some of kind of the basics of operations just to help us get ready for the next unit. So what we want to do in all of these examples is basically expand and simplify. And basically expand, if we're not sure what that means, it just basically means multiply. So when we're expanding, we're usually multiplying, and simplifying means collecting like terms. So again, this should be a bit of a review. So for a, 2 times, and then in brackets, negative 3x plus 6. So when we have something like this, where we have a multiplier out front or a coefficient in front of the bracket, that number gets multiplied to everything or each term inside the bracket. So 2 times negative 3x is negative 6x. Basically, you're just multiplying the numbers. The x just remains there. And then 2 times 6 is 12. So that is expanded. I can't simplify anything because there are no like terms here. The negative 6 has an x, so I can't add that to the 12. It's two different things. It's like apples and oranges. You can't add them together. For b, same idea. I got a 2 out front of the first bracket, so that's going to multiply to everything in there, those 3 terms. In the second one, this negative 2x or minus 2x is going to get multiplied through to the entire second bracket. Carry that negative through, so don't just multiply positive 2x. I would say multiply the negative 2x, the entire thing through, because then that's going to make it easier in the end and you won't get confused with some of the signs. So in the first one, 2 times 4x squared is 8x squared. So I'm only multiplying, basically you're multiplying the similar or like terms. So I'm only multiplying the numbers together. So the 2 and the 4 is 8x squared. 2 times 3x is 6x. And then 2 times 1 is 2. On to the next one, negative 2x times 8x. So here we have a number and a variable multiplying. So the numbers I'm going to multiply together. So 2 or negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. And then I'm going to multiply the two x's together. X times x, if we think back to our power rules, becomes x squared. And then lastly, negative 2x times negative 3 is positive 6x. So again, be careful with your signs and make sure you're looking for them as you go through this. Now I've expanded. Now I need to collect my like terms. So I see that I have some x squareds. Remember to look at the sign in front or to take the sign in front. So in this case, the negative 16x squared, positive 8x squared. I also see that I have some x's or terms with x and then my only constant on its own. I'm just going to combine these now. So 8x squared minus 16x is minus 8x squared. 6x plus 6x is 12x. And then plus 2 is the last. It's just a constant on its own. C, I just have two numbers multiplied together. These are powers that are multiplied together with the same base. So when I multiply these through, remember we keep the same base, but we add the exponents. So it's going to be x to the power of 5 plus 7. We have x, sorry about that. We have x to the power of 12. For D, we have 3 terms all multiplied together. In this case, order doesn't matter, but it's not going to be, it's not the 7x squared times both of those. If you think of multiplying numbers together, you just multiply the first two, and then the product of that you multiply by the next one. So 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. X squared times x to the power of 4, multiplying powers. So we add the exponents. So in this case, 2 plus 4 is 6. So that's what the first multiplication or expansion results in, and then that answer or that product is going to be multiplied by the last term or the 5x. So now we have negative 21 times 5, so we get negative 105, x to the power of 6 times x to the power of 7, or basically because we don't see an exponent, we assume that there's a 1 there. And finally, in E, what we want to do when we have an operation like this where we have a fraction or a giant division, we want to simplify the top first and then simplify the bottom and then worry about the division. So in this case, I'm going to simplify the top because I have some multiplication up there. Again, it's more of a standard one. I'm just going to multiply my numbers together. So 3 times 4 is 12. And then the y's I'm going to multiply together. Y to the power of 3 times y to the power of 2. So using our product rule, add those two together and you get 5. Divided by 2 times y to the power of 3. So that doesn't change. And now when I'm dividing, I do it the same way as when I'm multiplying. Focus on what's similar. So I'm just going to divide my numbers, or the coefficients. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then I'm going to divide my y's. So y to the power of 5 divided by y to the power of 3. So this is going to be our quotient rule. So if you remember that from grade 9, when you divide powers with the same base, you have to subtract the exponents. So it's going to be 5 minus 3, or 6y to the power of 2. You don't need to show this step here. You don't need to show, just if you're wondering how I got to the final answer. So you do not need. So I'm just showing you how we got to y, or 6 times y to the power of 2. Because of our quotient rule, we subtracted our exponents on the y. So again, this was just kind of a little bit of a review to go over some basic expansion with one term and some of our power rules that we may come across in this unit.